The dancing plague of 1518, the town that could not stop. Imagine a city street where the first sign of disaster is not smoke, not an army, and not a disease anyone can see. It is a person moving. A woman steps outside and begins to dance. At first, maybe it looks strange. Then it becomes frightening, because the movement does not end. Hours pass. The story says she keeps going. Days pass. More people are pulled into the same impossible rhythm. That is the open loop behind the dancing plague of 1518, one of the strangest outbreaks in European history. The place was Strasbourg, then part of the Holy Roman Empire. The basic claim, preserved in historical accounts and discussed by modern historians, is that a wave of compulsive dancing affected the city in the summer of 1518. People did not simply dance at a celebration. They seemed unable to stop. By the end of this episode, the mystery will not be solved with demons, aliens, or a fake internet explanation. The more disturbing answer is human. Under the right conditions, fear, hunger, belief, exhaustion, and social pressure may be able to spread through a community in ways that look almost supernatural. First, the verified center. Modern summaries such as Encyclopedia Britannica and historical scholarship describe the Strasbourg dancing outbreak as a real event reported in contemporary or near-contemporary sources. The most famous figure is often named Frau Trophia, who allegedly began dancing in July 1518. The details vary between retellings, and that matters. Responsible history has to separate the core record from later exaggeration. The core is already strange enough. A dancing mania was reported. Authorities responded. The event became part of a wider European pattern of episodes sometimes called dancing mania or choreomania. Similar outbreaks had been reported in earlier centuries, especially around the Rhine region. That does not make every detail certain. It does show that 1518 was not a random modern hoax pasted onto the Middle Ages. Now the first reveal, the official response may have made it worse. Some accounts say city leaders believed the dancers needed to dance the fever out. Instead of stopping the movement, they reportedly arranged spaces, musicians, and even encouraged continued dancing. To modern ears, that sounds absurd. But in a world where medical theory, religious belief, and folk interpretation mixed together, it was an attempt at treatment. This is where the story becomes cinematic and tragic. Picture musicians hired not for a wedding, but for an emergency. A hall opened not for celebration, but for a crisis. People collapsing from exhaustion while the city tries to manage the outbreak by amplifying the very behavior that defines it. Whether every dramatic number repeated online is reliable or not, the image captures the central contradiction. The cure may have echoed the symptom. So what caused it? The safest answer is, we do not know with certainty. But the serious explanations are more interesting than the supernatural ones. Historian John Waller, in work discussed in medical and historical contexts, argued that extreme stress and shared belief could have played a major role. The region had suffered hunger, disease, and social strain. When a culture already believed in forms of curse, possession, or saintly punishment, distress could express itself in the body through a pattern people recognized. One modern label often connected to cases like this is mass psychogenic illness. That phrase does not mean people were pretending. It means real symptoms can spread through a group without a conventional infectious agent. Fear, expectation, social reinforcement, and stress can shape physical experience. Bodies are not separate from beliefs. Communities are not separate from bodies. The midpoint twist is that this makes the plague more frightening, not less. If someone says, it was only psychological, they are missing the point. Psychological does not mean imaginary. Panic can raise heart rate. Grief can weaken sleep. Trauma can change posture, appetite, attention, and pain. A community under pressure can create symptoms that feel completely real to the people living through them. The Strasbourg case also exposes a problem in how we remember history. The weirdest version spreads fastest. Online summaries sometimes repeat dramatic death counts or details without careful sourcing. But Brain Unbound is not here to turn mystery into fake certainty. The responsible version is sharper. There was a documented dancing outbreak, exact numbers and causes are debated, and the best explanations point toward a collision of stress, culture, and the human nervous system. Why dancing? That is the haunting part. Movement can be ritual, celebration, prayer, punishment, trance, rebellion, or distress. In medieval Europe, dancing episodes were sometimes interpreted through religious frameworks. saints, curses, sin, healing, and possession were not abstract ideas. They were part of how people understood illness and misfortune. If a symptom appeared in a form a community already feared or expected, it could spread with terrifying speed. Think of it like a script written by culture onto the body. Not a deliberate script. Not acting. A hidden pathway. The first dancer becomes a visible signal. Witnesses interpret it through existing fears. Others under stress may experience their own symptoms. Authorities respond in ways that confirm the pattern. Musicians arrive. Crowds gather. The city watches itself become a stage. There is another layer: survival pressure. Strasbourg and the surrounding region had faced hardship. Food insecurity, disease, and social instability can push people toward the edge. When daily life is already strained, the nervous system has fewer reserves. A strange outbreak does not need a single magical trigger. It can emerge from many small pressures meeting one powerful belief system. That does not mean every person in the crowd had the same experience. Some may have been caught in genuine compulsion. Some may have joined from religious fear. Some may have been observers who turned into participants. Some details may have been shaped by later storytelling. History is not a security camera recording. It is a set of traces, and the traces have to be handled carefully. The strongest payoff is that the dancing plague sits at the border between medicine and culture. It reminds us that human beings are biological, psychological, and social at the same time. A virus spreads through bodies. An idea spreads through minds. But under extreme conditions, the boundary can blur. Belief can affect breathing. Fear can affect muscles. Social attention can feed symptoms. A city can become the medium through which distress moves. And that is why this is not just a weird medieval fact. Modern societies still experience waves of symptoms, panic, rumors, and collective behavior. The forms change. The channels change. Instead of a marketplace, it might be a school, a workplace, a social media feed, or a breaking news cycle. But the human nervous system is still suggestible under stress. We are still social animals. We still look to each other to decide what danger means. The final twist is that the dancing plague of 1518 may look alien because the costume is old: Strasbourg streets, religious fear, musicians, and a world before modern medicine. But the engine underneath is not old. The engine is us. A community under pressure. A symptom that becomes visible. A belief that gives it shape. An official response that may intensify the signal. A mystery that feels supernatural until you realize how powerful human expectation can be. So the most unsettling answer is not that people in 1518 were irrational and we are not. The answer is that their world gave fear one language, and ours gives it another. Their distress may have danced in the street. Ours might pulse through screens, rumors, and bodies in different ways. A woman starts moving. A city watches. More bodies join. The record becomes legend. The legend becomes a warning. Sometimes the strangest epidemics do not begin with a microbe. Sometimes they begin when pressure finds a rhythm. Subscribe to Brain Unbound for more strange true stories from the edges of history, science, and the human mind.